President Cyril Ramaphosa will today virtually launch a private sector-led multi-sectoral gender-based violence and femicide fund aimed at supporting the implementation of the National Strategic Plan. Now, for more on what to expect, we are joined via Zoom by our reporter Natasha Phiri, who is now on standby. Well, Natasha, what can we really expect?
Well, very good afternoon to you, Colin, and of course to our SABC viewers. As you've correctly cited, that the President will be launching this private multi-sectoral gender-based violence and femicide fund, and other key stakeholders that will be taking place or will be actually giving their inputs throughout this launch is the International Women's Forum of South Africa. Now remember, if I'll just take you through the genesis of this fund is actually aimed at supporting the National Strategic Plan around gender-based violence and femicide in the country. If you recall, Colin, last year we heard the President there addressing South Africans that gender-based violence and femicide is actually a second pandemic. Now this fund is actually in response to the 2018 Gender Summit that occurred that year, the Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Summit. And remember, the summit brought together government, key stakeholders like government, like civil society organizations. It also brought together survivors of gender-based violence and femicide. And I remember vividly some of the harrowing stories that, they recounted and they recalled about their loved ones either abusing them or violating them. And of course, a culmination coming from there was the Gender-Based Violence and Femicide Declaration, which endorsed President Cyril Ramaphosa's establishment of a multi-sectoral structure to allocate necessary resources required. And this fund actually speaks to one of those declarations that were actually declared back then. Other declarations was that the adequate resourcing of the Thuzela care centers around South Africa. Now remember, this is shelters where women or survivors of gender-based violence and femicide can actually seek refuge at these shelters. Also, the issues of sexual offense courts and promoting women-centered economic development. So these are some of the things that we actually could expect the President to actually touch on. But specifically, according to the fund, this is the fund that will be announced, where money will be allocated to actually, help such issues like the Thuzela care centers and just provide them with more resources, of course. And also we'll expect the President to announce maybe other far-fetched initiatives to actually end, hopefully, gender-based violence and femicide in the country.
All right, Natasha Phiri, the SABC reporter, giving us a preview of what to expect from the fund that will be launched by the President regarding gender-based violence and femicide. We're just going to take a break and we'll give you more news at the top of the hour. Don't go away.